everybody, Wayne here. In today's Recon, I'm taking a look at Iwo Jima, 1945, published by Worthington Games. Alright, first off, this review copy was provided by Worthington. Iwo Jima, 1945 is a solitaire war game using the same system as we saw in Tarawa, 1943, which, if you remember back a few years ago, was one of my top games released that year. So definitely excited to look at this second game in that solo wargaming system. First off, love this cover art. Absolutely love it. First, that was very striking. First thing I saw, and huge fan of it. Obviously, iconic imagery of the flag raising. Heavy box. There's going to be some good content in here, I'm sure. There's the back here. Just a little bit of text describing, the battle for Iwo Jima, showing the cards, the map, and the blocks. Okay, let's open her up. As always, I film in 4K. So if there's something, first off, check to make sure you're in 4K. Check the bottom right of your screen. Secondly, if there's something that I haven't covered or long enough that you want to see more of, just go to where it is, pause, and you should be able to get a good image of it. Thick, heavy box. I'm sure high quality components as usual from Worthington, but always appreciate it. That's why I like to mention it. Get some baggies here, which I'm thinking it has the plastic insert. So interesting, they also include some baggies, but hey, very nice. Can't complain about that. All right, the rule book. The system is fairly light with rules. I believe this would be something like a 8-page rule book. Oh, well, 12 total. Looks like the back here is actually a player aid anyway. Full color. Take a look at it. 2 columns. Nice, good sized text. And of course, as always with my recons, I'm not teaching the game. You can either look back in my Tarawa video for that. I have a playthrough video as well. Or you can now watch for videos on this game. I'm sure I will have some coming up eventually. So, pictures of components, pictures of, text examples, important information, key rules, alternate information, everything you're going to need to play the game. So, Iwo Jima 1945, as I mentioned before, it does use blocks, but it's not a block game in the sense of kind of, Columbia games, those block games, right? Here are stickers for you. And I noticed this before, one of the cool things, so we'll take a look at the blocks and those components in a second here, but take to see the stickers. So you do have alternates if you want. So it's just one side, right? It's just sticker the blocks. But what you have is your U.S. Marines here with the soldiers on them, or you can use just with the Marine anchor and globe if you want to have it maybe a little more subdued, a little bit maybe easier to read on the text. You don't necessarily want the soldier there, so it's up to you how you want to play it. And of course we have Japanese and to match, right? So either again you can have the soldiers, or if you just want to do just the Japanese flag. Very nice, very clean, very, very similar look to Tarawa 1943 here. All right, here's the map. It is a mounted map. We'll get that last, as always. We'll go to the other components in the box. So it does have a plastic insert, just like I thought, with compartments in it. Always love that from Worthington. We have a whole mess of dice here for you to be rolling. We have these different cubes for keeping track of cohesion of the different formations. Cards, nice thick card deck here, which I'll open up and look at in a second. And of course we have the Marine blocks, right? So you can see they're sort of an oblong shape. Again, if you're familiar with Tarawa, you can fast forward a little bit here, but probably to get the map out at least. Otherwise, you can see, right, you're going to put the stickers on the one side, and there you go. So not a hidden rotate sort of block game, but instead just using blocks is more tactile, more in-your-face style components as opposed to cardboard counters. And of course the Japanese here. Let me go ahead and open up these cards. All right, I have a card set out here, and there's going to be two types of cards. There's going to be cards for the U.S. player, for you, for your Marines, and there's a card that controls the Japanese defenders. So looking at the U.S. Marine cards here, you know, they're going to have a title on there. They're going to have some information how it impacts the game, and then they're going to have some historical information, card number in the bottom, play during USMC turn. Some people will play during the Japanese turn, right? Something like dug in, place a bunker in any USMC occupied position, occupied and controlled island position. The regiment occupying this position may be activated the same turn this card is used. Replacements, right? Add one replacement block from eliminated blocks to any one reduced regiment. Regiment may be activated the same turn this card is used. So just giving things that are going to be happening. Now, I did see in the rules that in this version, compared to Terroir, you can actually use, I think, multiple cards per turn. So one during your turn, you know, like your half of the turn, right? And one during the Japanese half. Here's the back of them, the back of the US one, just to see that. So same thing, right? So band coordination, US player may activate 2 additional regiments this turn for a total of 3 actions. Only one of these cards will be allowed per turn. Take a look at the Japanese. Look at the back of the cards, the artwork. And as always, again with Worthington, they're beautiful quality here. A nice linen finish. You can just catch, if you catch it in the light, you can see the linen finish on there. So beautiful, high quality cards as expected from Worthington. Tunnels of Iwo. So obviously, tunnels were a key part of it. Japanese player took a marker loss during the current turn, placed the marker loss on board in the lowest priority Japanese control position as an open marker location. So, right, providing some reinforcements to the Japanese that are out there. Fire attack. Launch a fire attack against the highest priority U.S. occupied position that is adjacent to a Japanese occupied position, not infiltrator. So, hey, having some attacks that kind of come back, right? So you're fighting, you're having a little bit of fighting back and forth. I mean, obviously the U.S., you're launching your invasion of the island, but Japanese they're gonna fight you the whole step of the way. So let's get this board out here. All right, full mounted board, as already pointed out before. Lays very flat from the get-go for me here. Very nice. I don't have to put anything on it to play. Should be able to go right into the game. You can see the terrain of the island, right? So you have your landing locations for your Marines. Japanese defenders, you do have some terrain here. You see the little mountainous terrain here. Going to impact that, make it that much harder. I mentioned before, if you're not familiar with the system, right, you have you see the 3rd Marine Division, 4th Marine Division, 5th Marine Division. Look at the bottom left of the map here. You have your different regiments, and you have their cohesion rating, right? So they're starting up here, and as they take losses, losing cohesion, and then of course they'll have, you know, say 3 blocks per, but they're going to be losing those blocks as well as they take attacks, as they suffer poor combat results, special events happen, etc. So grinding down your Marines as you're trying to capture this island, right? So I believe the only battle in the Pacific where the U.S. had, at least for the island hopping campaign, right, ground combat, had more casualties than the Japanese defenders. And you have your Japanese draw, Japanese discard. Your cards over here. Again, you'll have those blocks for the cohesion here. Blocks moving from location to location. And I see you have some charts here looking at the top right. Japanese fire attacks, Japanese bonsai attacks, and then your USMC regiments for your attacks. Roll 5 dice. Very nice. Very clean, very, very simple look. You can see there's a little bit of vegetation, a little bit of trees, and you see, you know, there's airfields. Obviously, one of the things, right, they wanted the island for kind of a airfield stopover point, also to eliminate it as sort of a forward observation post for the Japanese calling in our, you know, B-29 bomber strikes against Japanese homelands. So, all right, Iwo Jima, 1945, from Worthington Games. Definitely excited to take a look at this one. Can't decide on which I want to do with the blocks, which stickers. I kind of like the sort of clean look of these down here, but I do like the infantry, just seeing the infantry on there. But I think we'll probably go with that. I don't know. I'll have to decide in the heat of the moment when I decide to place the stickers and place everything on there. So, all right. Iwo Jima 1945 from Worthington. Let me know if you played it yet. What you think of the game? What do you think of the original Tarawa? I really enjoyed that game. Very difficult, and I don't expect this to be any easier. But I do look forward to diving into this one. So, if you made it this far, I always appreciate a subscription. Appreciate thumbs up of the videos, or comment below, right? Let me know what your thoughts are. So, until next time, everybody, later.